For the routing webinar, we actually, one second. We actually start by opening a workspace. So I'm going to choose open an existing workspace. And in my training folder here, I have a routing.wrkz. To just go over briefly what I have on this workspace, I have a layer of clients and a layer of one sales rep. My layer of clients is just a few made up customers and real street addresses and some Q1, Q2 sales numbers. And then I have some hours here as well and my anticipated visit time at each location. This data is all made up, but you could easily add this data to a map by just importing a spreadsheet. So if you have a spreadsheet of your own routes or your own stops, basically, you would have to first add that to a map using map, add table or spreadsheet to a map to actually create the routes. I've already done that step, so I have my clients here. If you do want to learn more about that, feel free to let me know in the question and answer, and I can go over that later. But here I have my layer of clients and my layer of sales reps. To open up the routing manager, I'm going to go to the tools menu, choose routing and directions, and then routing and directions manager. And that is going to open the routing and directions manager. There's a few different ways to add stops to routes. So you can add a stop by just typing in the address, city, and state or zip code. You can add stops by clicking on the click to add a stop and then clicking where you want to add the stop. So if I know the exact location of the stop, maybe I don't know the address or it's just faster to click, you can just click on the map where I want it to go. I can also add stops from a layer by using the add locations based on a selection set option. So to start with here, I'm just going to add a couple stops by clicking on the map. And to create your route, you're just going to hit optimize. To clear the route, you can click on clear all locations and routes. You can mix and match these options as well. So if I want to, I can click to add a stop, click where I want my first stop, and then I can type an exact address or a city for the second one, or for any other stop really. So let's say I want to go to Boulder, Colorado next. You type in Boulder, Colorado. You could type in an address as well if you want. Add it, and it's going to add that to the map. There we go. And again, hit optimize to optimize your route. And you can do more than 2 stops as well. So you can click additional stops and optimize to get the best route. If you want to start and end at the same location, you can right click on the first location and choose as end. And then optimize again to get the round trip. You can get a directions report by clicking create directions report. That's going to open up a PDF directions report. You can also click on export to Excel to get an Excel report. If you want to save your route, you can click on Save Route. Routes save separately from the workspace, so you do have to save a route file if you want to actually save this blue route line itself and the stops in your directions or in your routing manager. So you can give the route a name, call it my first route. And if I were later to have cleared the route, I can go to open route and then open it back up. If you want to move a stop, you can click on add or move stop, and you can click and drag stops to new locations. This can also be used to add stops, or you can also use it to drag the route off of certain roads. So if you know that you don't want to take this highway, for example, actually click and drag the route, and you can get it off the highway. Here it's going to be a little bit difficult because I'm going to stop 4, which is directly across here. There we go. Okay, and again, to clear the route, we click on Clear All Locations and Routes. Now, popular use for the routing manager is to create routes from a spreadsheet of stops. So to do that, we're going to click on Add Locations based on a selection set. We're going to choose the layer that we want to add the stops from. So from the layer dropdown, I'll start with my sales reps. The stop name, I'll just use I'll use the rep, which is his name. If I have an amount of time I need to stop for, I can check the box for stop for. We're not going to check any of that option or any of those settings for adding the sales rep. So there's Frank Turner's starting location. And to add all the clients from my clients layer, I can again click on Add Locations based on a selection set. This time I'll choose the clients layer. I'll be adding all features. I don't have a particular order in mind. The stop name is going to be their customer name. I do have an anticipated visit time field in my spreadsheet, so I'll check the box for stop 4, and I'll make sure that my anticipated visit time is chosen, and I'll hit OK. That's going to add all 25 of those stops. I want to start and end at Frank Turner's home location, so I'm going to right-click on his name and choose his end, and I'll hit Optimize to get the full route. So there is the full route. And again, if you want a route report, you can click on Create Directions Report or Export to Excel. You can move individual stops up and down in the order by choosing Move Stop Up or Move Stop Down. Keep in mind, if you're using the Optimize option, this will remove any optimization. So if I move the stop 16 down to say 21, for example, if I want to keep it in this order, I would have to choose Get Directions to maintain that order. So Optimize will always reorder your stops to create the most optimized route. Get Directions will just run the directions report or basically add the stops to a route in the order that you have them listed here. You could swap the start and end by choosing Swap Start and End, or I think this actually reverses the order of all the stops. It does, yeah. So if you want to reverse the entire order of the stops, you can choose Reverse Stops. And if you want to access additional options, you can click on Options, and you'll see things like driving speeds in the Driving Speeds tab. This is actually new, being able to use target speeds. This is a new feature in Maptitude 2021. For different types of roads, you can set different target speeds. And then you can also adjust the itinerary, things like when you're starting the route, when you're ending the route, how long you're staying at each stop for if you don't have a field like I do, and things like fuel cost and a driving cost by rate. And finally, if you want to route with a different layer other than street, maybe you have your own street layer or street network, you can choose that here. Okay, that covers pretty much everything in the routing manager. I'm also going to cover the distance and travel timetables tool because it's become pretty popular over the last couple of years. So the distance and travel timetables tool allows you to create a table or matrix of distances and or travel times between 2 layers of points, or you could do it between all points of a single layer if you wanted. So to use it, I'm going to go to the tools menu, choose routing and directions, and then distance and travel timetables. So we choose a layer of origins and then a layer of destinations, and then we're going to set up any additional settings we want here. And it's going to give us a full list of those distances and travel times from all of the origins to all of the destinations. For example, let's say I wanted to find the distance and travel time from Frank Turner's location to all 25 of these clients. My origins layer is going to be my sales reps. I'm going to use all features and get the name field from rep. My destinations will be the clients. Again, I'll use all features and the customer name field for the name. My method is going to be routes. I want to get the routes by the fastest route type rather than shortest. I'm not going to skip routes longer than any amount of time, but you absolutely can if you want to. You can also limit to a number of closest destinations per origin. So this can be very useful if you want to find like if you have a list of sales reps and you want to find the 10 closest clients to each sales rep, you can, limit to 10 closest destinations. In my example, I only have one sales rep and I just want to find the distances to all 25 of the clients. So I'm going to leave this on, or I'm going to uncheck this rather. And you can choose to output a matrix or a table. The matrix will give you, for each, it will give you, I believe, columns of origins and then rows of destinations. The table will just give you a big list with 4 columns, the origin, the destination, and the distance and the travel time. I prefer the table output myself. I find it a lot easier to filter with. You can also open in Excel if you want to. And I'll uncheck this and hit finish. So there we go. I have all the distances and travel times from Frank Turner's location to all 25 of those clients. And if you have more than one origin location, that will work as well. I just happen to only have one origin location, so I only have Frank Turner here. But if you do have more than one origin, you can absolutely still do this. So this is Frank Turner. This is to customer 5178 and the travel time and distance. If I wanted to export this table to Excel, I could do so with File, Export Table. Okay, I think that covers the contents of the instructional portion of this webinar. If you have any questions, do feel free to post those in the questions box now, and I will take the last few minutes to answer them. Oh, and also, it has been a popular question recently, so I will just bring it up. When you're using the distance and travel time tables, you do have the same option to access driving speeds. So if you do want to adjust the driving speeds or target speeds for different roads, you can do this now with distance and travel time tables as well. But feel free to ask any questions now, and I will take the last 15 minutes to answer them.